Uganda first. In everything we say, think, or do, here it is Uganda first. Then it was East Africa and Africa at large. Now the issue that has brought me today is the issue of the EACOP. I'm sickly, but I'm on treatment. I'll get well soon. But I'm still, of course, signs of weakness are still, are still visible. And now, why are we talking about this EACOP? So many people think the European Union is intervening in Uganda's issue or East Africa's issue. EACOP is East African Crude Oil Corporation. Now, this corporation is of a pipeline that is going to transport or move oil from Uganda in a district called Hoima. Hoima, the people living there are Banyoro, people from the Banyoro Kitara Kingdom, and this oil is being moved from Uganda through a pipeline up to Tanga in Tanzania. Now, this project started around 2019, 2018, but it got attention around 2022. That was just a year after the presidential elections in Uganda. And the attention came up when the European Union put a halt, a stop at the construction of the EACOP pipeline. And people think the European Union is intervening in Uganda's matters or in African matters. And people are bringing that regional bias of thinking that the Europe doesn't want Uganda to make its own oil or to process its own oil. That's not the issue. I want us to talk from the fact of the people of Uganda, not from the state perspective, not from the Tanzanian perspective, but Ugandan people, or the Ugandans' perspective. Of course, Africa and East Africa and Africa have the feeling that we should control our own properties. There are times when really you need help from somewhere. Why am I saying so? In this area, the EACOP is of much benefit to Africa than the Europe. That one we know. Is of much benefit to East Africa than the rest of Africa probably. But of course, when one country in Africa wins, the whole Africa wins. Now here is a challenge about this EACOP. Uganda is being led by a dictator, a military dictator. So it is under military dictatorship, of which the dictator we have is not the kind of dictator like, the kind of president we have is not a dictator of a president, a military man that is patriotic. No, not in this case. In this case, we're talking about a greedy dictator who is willing to take anything as long as he can put his hands to it. We have seen the military presidents like Traore of which country is this? Traore is a soldier, yes, is a military man, but this man is a patriotic man. He's a patriot to his country. But here we're talking about the Dictator M7 guy. This is a man that has been in Uganda for now 38 years as president. Who came, let's take this as a note, who came in after overthrowing another dictator? Which dictator also had come in after overthrowing another dictator? We get? Now, in Uganda, we have never had a peaceful transition of power since independence. Of course, even independence wasn't just peaceful, we know it. We know? Now, so Uganda has never had any peaceful transition of power. Now, this is a man who went in an election and used all state machinery to clamp down opposition on him in 2021. And there's a documentary that is titled BOBIWINE, the People's President. You can go watch it on YouTube. Now, this is a man, just after the election, they signed this contract of the EACOP so that he can get more power, more money to be able to hit the opposition in the coming years. This is a man who is already running and strategizing his son, his firstborn, to run for presidency in Uganda. This is the man we're talking about. Now, this man, when we went to realize he has signed, when Ugandans went to realize he has signed an agreement with Total Energies to construct the EACOP, this pipeline, and move crude oil from Uganda to Tanzania for processing. Ugandans realized the contracts Uganda only gains 16%. It was 16 to 18% out of the whole. This man, we're talking out of the whole crude oil we are going to transport or to mine from Uganda. Uganda as a country only takes 18%. Tanzania takes around 30%. And then it's around 30%. And then all the rest, about 54%, is taken by Total Energies. Now, we know very well that when the dictators make these agreements, part of what is said to be for the other company is also theirs. We know that this guy is saying contracts and they parade. We know that dictators or despots, in Uganda here we call them despots, we call them dictators. They will camouflage they'll camouflage at any time. They'll come this side and say they're part of the Ugandan system, but they are in business-wise they are acting as Tanzanian systems, and then as signatories they are acting as the Total Energies. Because this is a man that said very well and clearly that most of the jobs will be for Tanzanians, and he's a president to Uganda. And Uganda has around 85% of its citizens as the youth. And you know that still 85% of the youth have no jobs in Uganda. 85% of Ugandan youth have no jobs in Uganda. That means only 15% has jobs among the youth in Uganda. Uganda is the same country whose tax system is meant to make all businesses fail. It has the settings or the system of the taxation in Uganda ensures that all businesses collapse in the first 5 years. And everyone knows that even those that go abroad in the diaspora to get capital, still in 5 years of being in Uganda, all that capital will be lost because of the taxation system in Uganda, the poverty levels in Uganda, purchasing power in Uganda. Now, Ugandans said no. This man, with the money from the gold deposits in Uganda, because Uganda has several deposits of gold, and they have been being mined for the last 18 years, even if you go to Google. For the last 18 years, Uganda is the second leading country in gold, in the gold markets. In selling gold on the world market. Second leading country in Africa. But no Ugandan media shows that Uganda is selling gold. It is only being sold in secret. Now this time around, we are lucky that Ugandans have been out there in search for what is happening around the world about Uganda. Then they landed on this. In the year 2018, the president of Uganda, the despot, the dictator, said no one will take his oil, telling Uganda that he won't leave power because no one is willing to take his oil. So the oil is his, just like he took the gold. Now Ugandans this time said no. If you have learned about this, let us first find out about the agreements. They realized the companies that were registered as Russian companies as French companies were being run by Ugandans from the first family. Meaning they had camouflaged. These guys have a system of disguising as people from the other side. Now, they put up the companies that were purchasing, that were buying oil. Most of the shares were being bought by Ugandans, disguising as French. So we realize that even we think we are selling oil to the France, it is legit we are selling it to Ugandans. It is being sold to Ugandans who are disguising and camouflaging as what? As French people. The money they got from the gold, they want to use it to buy the oil and then invest it abroad and leave Ugandans in stinking poverty. They have made sure that 85% of the jobs from the pipeline are from Tanzanians. And the president said it on national media. Ugandans said, okay, they wrote letters to the European Union citing areas of loopholes that these guys had left behind, like compensation of the people that are supposed to that are living in areas, the compensation of people that are living in areas of the pipeline. So these guys have been evicted from their lands, but not paid their compensation, and they've been left to suffer from wherever they can go. So when the president told Ugandans that 18% is for Uganda, told Ugandans that 85% of the jobs around the pipeline will be for Tanzanians. And he even told us that it is because most of his relatives are in Tanzania.
Almost 900 million will be spent, mainly in Tanzania actually, because the portion of Uganda is small. But I don't mind because many of my relatives are in Tanzania, so.
We're in Tanzania.
From whatever country you are, what would you think, or what would you take if your president was telling you that anyway, moreover, most of my relatives are in Tanzania. So in his country, there are no jobs. He's giving out the jobs to another country. We get, yet the pipeline is most of the biggest parties in Uganda. The pipeline is coming from Uganda. It should have been an opportunity for Ugandans to get jobs. Our girls are running to the desert to get jobs as housemaids, graduates, under his government, and he's giving out jobs to other countries. I mean, they say first sort your family, then sort the neighbors. Everyone knows this. At least let them say the jobs in the Tanzanian part for the Tanzanians, the jobs in the Ugandan part for the Ugandans. That one is okay. We get, but you have 85% of your youth unemployed, but you're giving out all the jobs to the other side. Now, what really? What do you make of that? So Ugandans wrote letters to the European Union and said, we know you have some power under this. Can you please help us and first stop this until this president is not making policies in favor of Ugandans until he's out of power first? Ugandans are struggling to get him out of power. Almost 80% are struggling to get him out of power. Almost 80% are against the man of Ugandans. We are saying this. But he's making sure he stays in because he has the military might, or the military power, because he's in charge of all state machinery. The man has no any independent institution in the country. Or the country is him, the institutions are all him, and the country, he's the institution. Now Ugandans are saying no, this time around we shall reach everywhere that we get the money and we cut it off. So that when you start breaking down, now maybe it may be easy for us to get you out of power. The man is too strong that he has put down all means of stopping him from running for the next presidency. All he cares about is the next general election. He never cares about the next generation. The gold in Uganda, him. The uranium in Karamoja, him. Now the oil in Hoima, him. The lakes in Uganda, all the fish in the lakes of Uganda cannot be fished by Ugandans.
President Yoweri Museveni launched the Marines unit.
After seeing that there was the trend of illegal fishing had gone high, and he decided to protect the resource which would help the government in terms of revenue and boost the economy.
The fishing industry contributes 3% to Uganda's gross domestic product and employs over 700,000 people. And competition for fish is high in the lake.
We have over 50 lakes, but Ugandans are not allowed to fish from there. The sugarcane plantations in Uganda have all been stopped from selling sugarcane outside Uganda. Yet all the buyers in Uganda have been told to buy them at the cheapest price possible. So Ugandans have to stay in poverty, educate your son, your child, but we never hope for him or her to get a job because all the industries have been broken down under his time, under his regime. Now Ugandans are saying no. The reason why they are putting him is not really that they want him to get out of power, but he has not served Ugandans in his 38 years of power. There is no development under him. All that we can talk about him is the corruption status in his whole government. This is the man that has signed an agreement on behalf of Ugandans for the next 10 to 40 years, who will not be around. And for the last years he has been around, he has shown us that he's a non-performer. So Ugandans are saying, European Union, please help us stop this cooperation until the man is out, or until the agreements are fairly signed. So you may, most African countries may fight the European Union, but it is Ugandans that are fighting the EACOP themselves. I repeat this, it is Ugandans that are fighting the EACOP themselves. I will refer you to a video that was recorded of the people that are living where the pipeline will pass, that were evicted from that land. The people that were evicted from the land where the oil was discovered, they were told they will be compensated. Total Energies gave money to the nation to compensate these people so they can go and buy lands elsewhere and start lives there. The government put these people in camps without food, no education for their children, no services, no medical services. I will look for this video and give you a link, so you can know that Ugandans really were right or are right to say, European Union, stop this EACOP first until we have someone who can fully represent the interests of Ugandans, not the individual benefits of the people in the first family. We were recently put out of the AGOA. Is it African Growth Opportunities from Africa? Something like that, or American Growth Opportunities for Africa. AGOA. On these three reasons. When this law, when AGOA was being brought in Africa, it had its fundamental principles and pillars. For a country to be part of AGOA, they should be democratic. They should have respect for human rights. Of course, now democracy in Uganda, you can't talk about it. Now, when it comes to respect of human rights, Uganda is worse. We know this. Or probably I should link you. I should give you a link to this documentary of Bobi Wine was president. You can look at bits, or maybe I will give you other links to other videos. You can look at how human rights are really a big issue in Uganda. Like people are like now making this video. If a state operative sees this, just now they're abducted, and this one is true. And the abducted have been arrested, not arrested, abducted. or kidnapped. And what will happen to me? My face may never see the world again. This is the risk we live in Uganda. Like, there's no freedom of speech, that one is not there. Now, Ugandans say, wait a minute, let's first put the country to order. AGOA had its rules that it should not, that the market, the AGOA market, should not only benefit the officials, it should benefit the individual at the ground, that local person, that common person. But what happens here in Uganda? It is only this man, the in-law to the president, is called H.E. It is only him that was in charge of the whole supplies from Uganda. It is in Uganda where a kilogram of maize seeds from the supplier here in the village, down in the village, is being bought at let's say it hit Uganda is 500 shillings. 500 shillings, a dollar in Uganda is 3,700. It is 3,700. Now, when I say 500 shillings and $1 is 3,700, 3,700 Ugandan shillings, $1. But now a kilo of maize is only 500 shillings. So you can look at how low the market is. Now, these same guys in from the first family got a contract with UN. We're talking about UN this time. With UN to buy a kilo of maize at $3. $3. That's around 10,500 in Uganda. So these people say they buy maize from a Ugandan at less than $1, but sell it to UN at $3. They buy the maize at 500 shillings and sell it at $3, which is 10,500 in Uganda. Now, this mathematics may a bit confuse you, but we are meaning the $3, they just get, they want their whole money almost intact. Let me say that. They want to get the maize at almost free price, like at free cost, and go and sell. Because if 1 kilo of maize in Uganda is 500, but is being sold outside Uganda at 10,500 shillings. 10,500 shillings. So the 500 is for buying it from you, the 10,000 is for them who just come and pick and take. We get 10,000 shillings is for them who just come and pick and take. For you who has done all the digging and everything, your money is only 500 shillings. Theirs is 10,000 shillings. That's what the state has brought to us. And they make sure there's a monopoly, it's only them to buy. You guys, the way Ugandans are suffering under this government, you can't allow them to sign any other contract on your behalf. You cannot. So please, whoever, if you've understood this message well, and I'll give you some links in this video to look at those videos and understand what I'm really talking about. If you really get the point, be part of these Ugandans who are fighting for the EACOP. I mean, for the European Union to stop the EACOP. See those placards that Ugandans use to demonstrate. Ugandans demonstrating for the EACOP, saying, please stop EACOP. Demonstrating, telling the European Union, please stop EACOP. Understand why they are doing it. The only demonstration that has ever happened in Uganda is the demonstration where the policemen and secondary school students were used to demonstrate and show that Ugandans want European Union to let EACOP continue, East African Crude Oil Corporation to continue. It's the only demonstration we have ever seen in Uganda that was successful, ever. The only demonstration that ever went successfully. All the rest are camped down by police. You can look at those videos I'll show you. I'll put in the link below, in the bio. You'll understand what we are talking about. Now we are saying this dictator must stop this madness. Thank you. I'm a bit sickly, but I'll be well soon. Next video I'll make, I know I'll be super healthy. Thank you.